We are starting with the very first lesson, the last lesson, Alphonse Dot. So the very first question is, judge the title, the last lesson. Why this lesson has been termed as the last lesson? And this is quite ironical that we are dealing with the very first lesson and that is the last lesson. Now the second question which comes to the mind is the background of the story. Let's try to understand and focus on background of the story. The story is based on Franco-Prussian War, which started in 1870 and ended in 1871. Prussia comprised of Germany, Poland and part of Austria, and they defeated France, and the Alsace Lorraine passed into Prussian hands. And our story starts in Alsace Lorraine. Now let's talk about a character French. French is a 14 years old boy, and like a normal young boy, he doesn't want to go to school on that day when he gets up early in the morning. Why? Two reasons for that. The first reason is that the teacher has taught about participle and rules of participle, and he knows nothing about it. And moreover, when he gets up early in the morning, the outside world was very warm and bright. He wants to be in the nature. He wants to play. See the Persian soldiers drilling, and he wants to be on the Saar, sliding down and doing all kind of naughty things. But suddenly, the picture of M. Hamel, his teacher, comes to his mind, and he takes his bag and runs to school. While moving to school, he passes through the bulletin board. Now this particular bulletin board has been a source of bad news, because all the news of lost battles, the new drafts, the orders of the commanding officers from Berlin, and so on. But now what? Why so much crowd? But he did not have time to stand there and see what was there. He was running to school, and on the way he was stopped by Mr. Watcher and his helper, and was asked to be steady and to go easily to school because he is very early. He thought he is being mocked, so he ran to school. Now while he reached the school garden, he thought of a plan. Now how and what was the plan? For understanding the plan, we need to understand what used to happen on the normal days at school and what happened on that day. Normally in the school there was a great bustle which could be heard in the street, like opening and closing of desks, lessons being repeated in unison for better understanding, and the teacher's iron ruler rapping on the table. So much noise. So he thought he would take benefit of all this and sneak into the classroom without the teacher's notice. But on that very day, everything was still and quiet as Sunday morning. Now what to be done? He had no other option but to enter the school from the front gate where the teacher was standing. And the moment he stood near his teacher, he was dead frightened. He knew that he is going to get rapping on his hand. But the teacher on that day, his behavior was quite changed. He was quiet. He was very calm. He was composed, and he was understanding and friendly. And very kindly he told him, "Go back to your seat. We were starting without you." The moment he went back to his seat and he had his breath back, he saw there were a lot of changes. The first change was attire. The teacher was dressed in beautiful green coat, frilled shirt and silk black embroidered cap. Normally, he used to wear this kind of attire on inspection and prize days, and today was neither of them. So why was he dressed so nicely? And the classroom, it was completely jam-packed. Everybody was there, including village postmaster, former mayor, old hosser, and all the villages. The entire back benches were completely filled. He did not understand why they were there for. And moreover, the environment of the school was quiet and solemn. That made him confused, perplexed, and astonished. He was still lost in his thoughts when Hamel stood up and he made some announcement. And the announcement was that from tomorrow, means the next day, French was no longer to be taught in the schools, and German was to be their national language and was to be taught in the schools from the next day. And the teacher was supposed to be there from tomorrow, means the next day. That meant that today, means that particular day, was the last French lesson. What? Last French lesson? He was not able to understand. There were a lot of changes noticed in French. His behavior, he became sad, sorrowful, resentful, and he started repenting his previous actions. He started developing love for his books, grammar, and biography of his saints, and love for his teacher, knowing that he was going. Now he could understand the change in the behavior of the teacher and everything around him. All the villagers were in the classroom just to thank the teacher for his 40 years of selfless service. My dear students, this is your first part of your lesson, the last lesson. Thank you.